Hey everybody, it's Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. If you can tell, 8/18. You're going to be seeing this on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. What does that mean? It's a current video. Shocking, I know. If you're unaware, what happens on my channel, I get super slammed like I am now. You leave work, like it's 7:45, you haven't eaten supper, all kinds of that crazy stuff. And it's very, very hard to maintain a regular upload schedule, particularly 2 videos a week like we do. If you're unaware, there's Wednesday and Saturday videos. But that's why you kind of see video come out, and I'm talking about like, oh, the snow melted finally. Well, it's because it was recorded like in January or February type of a thing, right? This one, though, is recorded now. Like the night before I need to sit and edit it all night and upload it with slow internet. So you're thinking, why? Why is this being recorded now? Don't you have a huge stockpile? Well, the answer is yes, and I can tell you there's some really, really cool stuff coming. I can also tell you there's some even cooler stuff that I've not made the videos for yet. But some things just need to come out as soon as they can, and this is one of those things. So hopefully you're excited. I'll tell you right now, timestamps, I do them. Not many people do. They're down below. If you want to see product specs, if you want to see in hand, if you want to see first impressions, comparison, whatever we do, I'll have it down below. You can skip around if you want to. It's there for your convenience. Also, I'll put a link. This link will probably not last too long in terms of an item being in stock, but it will be there. So I guess early bird gets the worm type of a thing. And without further ado, we're just kind of gonna jump into this thing. So obviously this was picked up from KC Tool, and it's not that. And you're thinking like, okay, well, that's kind of a bad segue there. I would agree, but I know what's going on. I know what I have planned. I know what's up my sleeve. So just bear with me. We'll throw that down, and it's not about this. We'll throw this down. It's not about that. By the way, you can probably look at these for trained eyes, and you might just figure out what pliers wrench I prefer and what I like the best. Well, I guess we'll throw that in there because we have it. And, for what it's worth, I have been using that thing when I can, or when I want to, I should say, and it works. It's super heavy, and the biggest complaint, it was just a blatant copy of what Knipex did. So why is Knipex here, and why is Knipex here twice? Well, it's just a random assortment of pliers wrenches, right? And that would be 100% correct. We've got Knipex, sort of in their chrome finish. We've got the Stahlwille. We've got Wiha. We've got Knipex with soft jaws. We've got the icons here, Knicon, whatever you want to call them, and we've got the Gedores. And you're thinking, that's a lot of pliers wrenches. I would agree. The things are super useful. There's a couple more smaller sizes I've got, dedicated purpose ones. Again, you can probably guess which ones see the most use. And then this stands out just because of the soft jaw covers, right? So this is sort of something, if you're unaware, you can kind of see where those have been chewed into by what I was working on. That is the purpose of the soft jaw. It protects the finish. Granted, a good pair of pliers wrenches should have parallel pressure, right? And you shouldn't tear things up too bad anyway. Just a little extra insurance on that front. And you're probably thinking like, do I need to use the timestamps? Where is this going? Well, trust me, it will be worth the wait. And if I throw this down, you're thinking like, okay, these are not pliers wrenches. And that would be correct. Most of you will instantly recognize these by what I have lovingly coined them as sci-fi handles. And if you're thinking, oh, those are NWS Combination Pliers, well, I'm not sure how that ties in, but cool, they're here. They are here, and this is all here for a very important reason. I am one of those people. I keep tabs on things. I keep up on things. I probably spend way more time than the average person, probably more time than the average tool person. Particularly with German tools, trying to stay upbeat on what's new, what's coming down the pipeline. And something came down the pipeline, and I ordered this thing. Man, I wish I knew. It was probably spring or summer, very, very early summer. It was probably like April, if I had to guess, maybe a little after that. Probably flew under the radar. I'm one of those people. I don't, flaunt things or, spread the word. If you notice, you do that. I mentioned it with the Knipex mat, right? I said, hey, this is the first time you're going to see this. I'm one of these weird people that keeps up with this, and let's see how many people, credit the source. And to the credit of some of you, y'all do that, but there's a whole lot of people that don't. And this is one of those things, there's people that don't work the hours I do that would get this stuff in instantly and crank a video out and then accuse someone like me that kind of informed them of the product of copying them. And to avoid all that, well, sometimes you just keep it low key. And that's exactly what we did. I thought I was in early enough to get the like super early batch, and it didn't happen. Production delays or something, I'm sure, shipping, who knows. Could be a myriad of things in this current world we live in. But they have arrived. In fact, they came here, I believe, Monday. So what am I talking about? Why all the buildup? Well, what if I told you that everything here tied in, and if you've got a good mind, a good head on your shoulders, you've probably figured out Pliers wrenches, NWS, there's no NWS Pliers wrench. I don't know what this guy's doing. Well, you were on the right track. You certainly were, because what if I told you part number N166469250 was in fact an NWS Pliers wrench. Blasphemy, you would say. It doesn't exist. Looked for one, wanted to try one, was going to bring one in, see if it was cheaper than Knipex. Wanted to pair it with, my existing arsenal of Pliers wrenches. They don't make one. Well, they do, and it's right here. And it's in the bag. I've held off. I have not opened this thing. I have not played around with it. You can see this is still the way KC Tool shipped it to me. Yes, this did come from KC Tool. That is the link that we will have. If you're curious, if you spend over $100, you're going to need two of these or some other things thrown on. You get a sticker pack. Any order, though, will net you the bit of thanks. In this case, they're still shipping the number 2 Phillips from VIT. So if you see these, you got to have them. You want to try them. You're one of the first. I'll tell you right now, they've got like 14 in stock, and that's divided between 2 different handle styles. There's 5, I believe, of this and 9 of the dipped handles. And if you're wanting to get this ASAP, you're going to need to turn that order in. And I say that once more as a guy, this is not an affiliate link. I've had people tell me to set that up, and you're leaving money on the table, you're helping people out, you should get a cut of the pie. Nope, still haven't done it. Maybe at some point in time, but when you watch this and click that link, nothing. It's just me helping you if you are interested. No pressure, no obligation, makes 0 impact on my life. Aside from some of you picking up what will hopefully be a cool tool that you can say, man, that's the best one yet, or geez, that's the worst one I've used, wish I wouldn't have bought it. Whatever it might be, I don't know. But I would love to hear your thoughts on it. So, if you're thinking like, what do you mean there's like multiple versions of this? What's the deal? Well, if we come back to this, we have the NWS Combination Pliers. We have this right here. It looks different than that, right? And the reason for that, to the left, where my thumb is currently residing, that is their Titan finish, all right? To the right, where my thumb is now residing, that is the matte chromium. Different strokes for different folks. You like the bright, chrome finish. This is not, keep in mind, shiny, typical American chrome. That's why it's matte. It looks super, super good. Some people prefer that. Some people prefer the Titan finish. One of my things, I aesthetically like both of them. It kind of depends on the plier, the profile, and the handle. A lot of times I sort of divide up my preferences. But going back to a video from German Tool Reviews, which again, some of you don't know of that channel. He hasn't uploaded in a while, took a break from YouTube, but if you enjoy what I do, you will certainly like what he does. I'll try to remember to link his channel down below. He has a comparison video sort of between the Titan versus the matte chrome, and it's just a deal where it could possibly impact, like the cutting performance or longevity with the coating impacting things. Food for thought, but I mean, realistically, if you have a preference or it's just a price or an economic decision, they're going to roughly be the same plier, but it is something to consider for your more advanced purchases. But in this case, this is the Titan, all right? And we're going to come in and we're just going to grab our NWS Scissors, which this is pushing the bounds of perhaps my most frequently used NWS product. It's typically their Ergo Combis, which I personally love. Some people hate. That said, I've just had to do a ton with scissors lately, and those are what I go to. So, here it is out of the package. Again, this is how it was shipped to me. And, oh yeah. If you have never, I tell this to everybody, even like the hardcore tool people, because so many times, they're either like Old American or Tool Truck, or like, well, Knipex or bust. And they're like, I kind of want to try something different. What should I do? One of my ultimate suggestions, pick what you need or what you use frequently, go to NWS and get this handle style. Why? It's actually comfortable. All the time comfort grip is thrown around, and it just refers to fat, oversized, double dipped, whatever handles, right? The NWS handles are actually comfortable. They could own the title comfort grip comfortably. All right, so that is a selling point there in and of itself. I'm going to set these right here for a little eye candy and kind of walk you through the breakdown before we get into particulars on it. All right, so these once more were the 1664 69 250. 69 in this case is going to refer to our soft grip Titan finish. Okay, price point $65.51 at KC Tool. If you prefer the matte chromium that we have here from an NWS, but you want this sci-fi handle, which again would be the soft grip, you would be looking for 1664 49 250. If you haven't figured this out yet, 1664 is essentially going to refer to their Pliers Wrench gripper, and 250 is going to be the overall length, roughly 10 inches if you will, and the differences are going to be 69 and 49 in this case, right? So 69, once again, is what is here. 49 is what we've got just like this, but in matte chromium. If we come in and you were to switch down to 42, you would have matte chromium here, and you would have their dipped handle. If we drop down to 12, you would have Titan, or I guess it's technically just they're sort of like black, you know, the I can't think of the words, the A word with the plastic handles. I had a text from my nephew there. He's wanting to play some Madden with me, so I may have to kind of crank this out a little quicker than I intended to. Still haven't eaten, but hey, priorities, right? And where this kind of comes into play is the price point, all right? So the king of the crop in terms of economic impact on your wallet, the flaunt it if you got it or you want it type of a thing, would be the matte chromium. So take this finish out, put it on this head, you would be looking at $71.16. That is the most you can spend on one of these. Drop down, keep the sci-fi handles, get the Titan finish, which again, that could be a personal preference thing. You're gonna save about $6. They come in at $65.51. The matte chromium with the dipped handle, you're saving 14 cents. It's $65.37. I don't set the prices. I can't explain it. It is what it is. If you think I want Titan and the dipped handle so I can save as much money as possible, you're going to be out the door for $59.30. So basically $12 from the lowest end option to the max, and kind of right here in the sweet spot, in my opinion, is the Titan finish with, of course, the sci-fi handle. So that is your price breakdown, and I know some of you are thinking, like, dipped handles, what are those going to be like? I bet I hate them. I'm going to go sci-fi. Well, I don't believe it would be this dipped. This is these little tiny, I love these things, micro cutters. I get into like the tight cable ties on stupid tool packaging with them. But what you would likely see here would be the textured dip handles. This is actually was my most frequently used NWS Pliers, the only one I think I have with that handle finish on it. But what happened is, this is in the truck. The truck's been down for a while, and so it's just stayed there. It hadn't seen use too frequently. But to kind of give you an idea on the wear there, this has been used on a lot of fence repairs. That's why there's like staining, like literal staining from stain. And then it pulls nails. They've been pretty good to me, I cannot lie. My most frequently used here in the shop would be right here, the Ergo Combis. These things are absolutely filthy. What I use these for is with a wire wheel or the bench grinder. They work amazing. I can hold all kinds of profiles, keep everything intact just like I want it. And aside, they never show as dirty on the camera as they are in person, but trust me, they're not quite the luster of the perfectly clean ones there. So back and back out, we're going to go ahead and try to kind of run you through some specs on this, all while avoiding first impressions. So, selling points from NWS. It's a universal pliers wrench for gripping nuts and refined fittings. Think of that as like a decorative fitting, you know, like chrome, sort of high-end stuff, plumbing, faucets, that sort of a thing. Or if you want to go race car, AN fittings. That's why I have so many pliers wrenches. They work beautiful for that. Especially like if you rarely deal in huge sizes. Let's say you're going to do a radiator hose, but it's like the only one you're ever going to do. Pliers wrench is a little bit more cost effective and practical on down the line in the future, as opposed to coming in and buying like a dedicated AN wrench that you basically can only use on anodized fittings. So it will replace an entire range of metric and imperial spanners. That's what they tout across the board here. Certainly is the case. These are fantastic for like roadside bags, if you will. They will let you mount surface refinement. That's basically what they've already covered. Let's see, they claim it has the ratchet principle, which again, if you're familiar with any pliers wrench, you can kind of just swing it back around and get pretty good time with it once you've customized yourself to it. Smooth inside jaws, so that's going to be a standard selling point here. They didn't do anything crazy or stupid. There's our parallel, ideally suited for gripping, holding, pressing, and bending. That's something that's kind of unsung. That's what I've used the icons for, is like bending sheet metal. Obviously, you're not going to come in and build like 10 gauge plate with it, right? But I mean, if you're dealing with like 16 gauge or smaller, they do a really good job of bending things. So keep that in mind, and it kind of gives you a parallel surface. You got equal pressure on both sides. You don't get the weird clamps like you do with some seam pliers. Not everyone is going to have that application, but it is an unsung application for pliers wrenches across the board. They claim you can use it as a tile nibbler, lock nuts, or even a small vise, which I also do quite frequently, especially like with electrical connections. You can use that, clamp it down over a cord grabber or something, break it free. Again, a vise would be preferred, or the junction box you could thread into, but sometimes you're in the field and you don't have that as an option. So they claim high clamping force due to a sophisticated lever design that multiplies the force applied by hand. So again, think of the Knipex concept, you know, with their test stands and everything. I know it's the Cobra. Same theory applies here to a pliers wrench. Push button adjustment with fine serration for quick and secure adaptation to the workpiece being gripped. We'll check that out in a second. Box joint with wide guide surfaces. Again, we'll look at that. This is something I didn't understand. Micro grinding for easy adjustment. I asked a couple of people and they actually aren't sure either. Micro grinding, to me, you could take that to mean a couple of things, you know. Some good, some not so good. So no clue there. If anyone knows, let me know. They've got finger trap protection. That's basically NWS terminology if you're not going to crush your hand. Ergonomic handle position and shape for optimum power transmission. Again, the NWS Soft Gripp handles truly are amazing if you haven't experienced them. The handles are ergonomically shaped as well with multi-component sleeves, so when you see these kickouts and kind of sort of like the Stahlwille that looks so weird over there, once you use it, you're like, oh, that's pretty nice. It's where you kind of see similar shapes here. It's not just like straight, sort of like some of our other contenders here. The Soft Gripp handles with the system socket hold optionally available accessories, which again, if you come in and you look right here and here, think back to those cool little NWS tethers. This would allow you to work on a ladder or overhead conditions and not drop it. It allows you to wade through a pond and not have it drop off and sink into the muck below you. Whatever your situation, sometimes you just need your tools stuck to you quite literally with a lanyard. And that's about it. It is made of special tool steel, forged and oil hardened. Again, 250 millimeter overall length, 10 inches per se. The wrench size is going to be 50 millimeters, and the span, that basically equates to 2 inches. Going with more stuff here, the weight, absolutely love this, 440 grams, special number if you're a Mopar person. Let's see here, and that I believe is about all we need to cover here. So we're going to get into the good stuff, and again at 1836 I'll timestamp it, and that's when we do our first bench impressions, right? In terms of a review, like, is this the best pliers wrench ever? I can't answer that. I need to use it. I need to use it a lot, and we're not going to be able to do that until we've had ample seat time with it. And to do so ahead of time is kind of foolish. That said, I have no issues with coming in and giving you an initial bench impression. So obviously, first thing first, I went with this for a reason. I personally like the Soft Gripp. I'm sort of neutral, you know, on the finish out, and honestly, this was $6 cheaper. And I'm not, you know, an objection to what the Titan finish looks like, so it's why it was selected. So you're not saving a ton of money, but hey, $6 is $6. Looking at the obvious here, if you've never seen their Soft Gripp, we've got the NWS branding there. They stay true to the form. Again, multi-component zones, so you've sort of got like tough, smooth, textured. They really are nice in hand, I have to say. Right here, whether you're a righty or a lefty, prefer one way or the other, you've got your lanyard clip options. Coming back around to this side, you can see K2 there. This little area is going to say made in Germany. Try to get a black glove back there for you. Now, I believe they're dubbing this as the gripper. Little Bird told me that you might very well, it's coming month I believe, there's a big event in Germany where you might see like some more official launch stuff on it. So keep your eyes open to that. Maybe follow NWS if you don't already. But you can see the gripper kind of staggered there at a 90-degree corner. Kind of a cool, something you don't see too often. You got 0 to 52 millimeters, and then right here, this is something that you don't see too often. You've sort of got like the delineation there, you know, like from 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and then it looks like we would cap out at, what, 29 there. It is sort of akin to something you kind of see sometimes with the Knipex stuff, where you almost have a face made with that little extra dot in the corner. It feels really good in hand right here, I can tell you. Same thing here on the back side. There's a look at the joint. We have no interference side to side. Sometimes I can find that where this will sort of grind. So this was actually well executed in my opinion here initially. You can see there's a side to side play, but even if I put pressure, I'm not able to like make the handles rub. Again, you could do that more times than you would think, even with some high-end wrenches. The mechanism looks eerily similar to some others. Interestingly, that looks like a Phillips screw from here. That's a heck of a glare, but yeah, she's a Phillips, so that's good news for me, because heaven knows we've got a lot of number 2 Phillips drivers here. Right here, push button says press. So if we articulate that, keep in mind this is my first time doing so. We're just going to go from close to open all the way. Let's do this a few times. See if I can find a sweet spot where we're not really like making noise. As you can see, I'm just kind of gliding this, you know, parallel, just like you see. I'm not doing anything weird up and down. It's just I'm going side to side. I'm now only going to move the gloved hand. Now I'm only going to move this hand. Pretty smooth out of the box, I must say. It's a little bit noisier than I remember other pliers wrenches being, but not a huge deal. There is each and every adjustment, minus the last couple, I'm sure. I could spin this around and attempt to count them, and I guess we will. I'll do that up here so we don't have to worry about it. And man, there are a ton of them. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is going to be very hard to get this past and know if I'm in the same spot. So we're going to grab a handy dandy little marker here, and I'm going to indicate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9 has the black mark. I'm not sure that you can see that, but trust me, this last one, we just put a line on it so we don't lose our count, because this is likely going to overlap. So when we come down, the mark is still there. Hopefully you can kind of see it there. And we're counting the teeth actually, so 10, 11, 12, 13. So you kind of got 13 teeth, and that's going to mean that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in front of the line. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 unique positions. I realize you probably couldn't see that. I'm more interested in saving you the time. So that's what we were going to do, what we're going to focus on. Let's go ahead right now and take a look at the profile of the jaws. As you can see right here, I like to always kind of check the side-to-side play. No, this is not a shootout. That'll come at a much later date again. If you need a fix on that, I recommend German tool reviews though. Coming in, we'll just go wide as we possibly can. Since we have the Knipex here, let's just do a quick little comparison. Note that we've got a situation here where NWS did not, do the size guides like we have on the Icon and this one, but we'll just do a quick sort of like throat comparison there, if you will. Very, very similar, as you can see. Even the handle geometries are super close. If you're thinking like, man, Knipex, why would anyone differ from that? Well, they did come up with a design there who developed the Pliers Wrench. What's going on here? They sort of have the patent, right? They've got the time for it to run out. It's a situation it ran out. It's a great idea. It's a fantastic tool. That's why you're seeing people copy it. Now, Usually you have companies like Stahlwille or Gedore or NWS that will do that. Sometimes, you know, people take that, you know, imitation as a sincerest form of flattery a little too far. For example, Knipex, of course, they have the diamond logo. Icon, I've never seen them with a diamond logo, but they incorporated one. Why? Well, you be the judge of that. But Capri just recently launched one, right? They sort of did their own design. There's several new pliers wrenches that have launched, you know, like in the past 6 months, if you will. It's kind of crazy how they all just sort of appeared out of thin air. But it's a situation where they've all come in, but for the most part, they do their own design, right? They don't, it's inspired, of course, all of these are inspired by the original, but they have the decency to sort of like, well, hey, can we make that better? What would we do to set ours apart? How could we improve that? And for NWS, this is kind of what they came up with. Again, note right here, I'm not smashing my fingers. We've got the little guard built in place. That's, again, going to keep us from doing anything crazy. In terms of the adjustments, it's a little noisy. It doesn't sound smooth, but it is smooth, if that makes any sense to you. Coming in, I should have grabbed, I spent so much time gathering up everybody. I should have grabbed some more stuff. Luckily, we've got a coupling nut. So we're just going to come in here and kind of size this down. You can see right here, you can just sling it as you need. If we open her up a little bit, we can kind of size down. Again, this is just a random coupling nut, I think, from my airline fitting box. That's a really solid grip, I have to say. You can see it spin a little. Well, you can't if I hold down more. So I'm not like squeezing crazy. Like, this is 2 fingers, you know, index finger and thumb, and that's quite the bite, I have to say. I was not expecting that. Usually you can kind of cheese these, especially coupling nuts, and keep in mind this whole time that's just a little grip there. So dadgum, that's impressive. Now, in terms of like the throat capacity, this is sort of cool because you can kind of see where you're at, where you're going. Some people will use that feature, some won't. Did they miss an opportunity to put the scale on the backside or go with, you know, like a imperial scale? Sure, you can make that argument. That's something they can easily adjust in the future. But holding it down here, same thing, man. I can get some bite with these, so pretty impressive on that front. If we come down and we just, let's say like you're there and you have 1/4-20 hardware, but you don't have a 7/16 wrench. Well, if you've got this, you can go to town. And let's say you have one socket, but you just can't keep that nut from spinning. Literally just coming in just like this, we can make it happen. Why do I have mismatched hardware? I don't know. I wish I had a 9/16 Nylock. We could go to town with that. Now, sort of highlighting, obviously out here in the shop, I'm not going to have like crazy bathroom fixtures or anything, although I do use these on shower heads and they work fantastic. But over here, we've got some Acorn nuts, and we can sort of quickly, it's pretty easy to kind of tell on this one, you know, like what's going to fit and what's not going to fit. Like you've seen me, this is like the first 4 things I've ever done with it, and it's working pretty well. So this would be something that you could deem decorative, right? It's sort of got some plating on it. You don't want to tear it up. If we were to throw a wrench on it, 6-point, 12-point socket, doesn't matter. It's sort of going to mar it up, right? With the smooth parallel jaws, it's almost like you've got the open end of a wrench. Gives you better chance of coming out with this intact, and you don't tick off the customer or, you know, have someone complain and say, hey, you know, this looked good, now it's like pitted, or it's, you know, delaminating, or the chrome's coming off, or my painted surface is ruined. What did you do? That's where these are nice. Now, as of me filming this, obviously this just literally, you know, got the KC tool and came to me. So there's nothing that I know of in terms of accessories past the lanyard. Obviously that's plug and play. I would be inclined to say NWS will probably do soft jaws. That could become a viable option, like if the Knipex is sort of priced out to you, or their accessories are a little higher, maybe you can snake in with the NWS. Sort of the sky is the limit. Kind of comes down to what you're heavily invested in, how curious you are, what you want to personally try out and use. What we're going to do here, I'm about to time out the cards, so we're going to pause it, and I'm just going to quickly kind of compare each one of these, not with anything significant, just literally open wide. Here they are side by side. All right, so here we're going to go. This will give you an idea. This is theoretically the same thing that we've already looked at. but it doesn't have soft jaw covers, so we'll make use of it. Right here again, the NWS versus the Knipex, both very, very similar profiles in every way, shape, and form. Again, that is widest position on each. When we come in here, we'll grab the Stahlwilles, open those up, take the NWS. Looks like the NWS will have slightly more capacity there than the Stahlwilles. Again, that's all well known and documented if you pay attention to specs. We'll come in over here to the Gedore, open these back up, and once again, sort of the same thing with the Stahlwille. You've just got ever slightly a little bit more capacity there, which again could or could not be a big deal depending on what you're doing. Since we have them, we're going to slide these icons down, line that up. Again, more capacity we're going to have with the NWS, and much, much thinner jaws there, I have to say, especially up at the top where you can kind of snake into some tight spaces. So that's about it. I'm not sure what more we can go into short of just using these in the real world. Speaking of the real world, Wednesdays typically is automotive videos or tool storage stuff. I'll try to make a point to start using these, see what we think of them in like real world scenarios. They didn't really do anything crazy. They're not trying to set the world on fire with some drastic revolution. They just made a pretty decent pliers wrench in their own iteration. If you look at the Knipex mechanism versus the NWS, you can obviously see the similarities there. The Stahlwille kind of does things a little differently. Coming in here to this Knipex, again, you can easily pick up on the inspired design. Gedore, also very similar to the Knipex in terms of that mechanism. Of course, pay attention to the size there. If any of you ever have issues breaking pliers wrenches or wearing them down, might be something you make note of. But I gotta tell you, I am excited to have these little things. Cannot wait to use them, get a better feel for them. But with that said, I'm about to time out again. And there we are. That is sort of the run through. It's NWS Selling Points, our quick initial inspection, initial thoughts from us. Price points, once more, kind of depends what you want. If you want the Titan finish versus matte chromium, you'll save some money. If you prefer the dipped handles versus the soft grip, you'll save a little bit of cash. Personal advice, especially if this will be your first NWS purchase, do yourself a favor and bring these in. They honestly, you'd probably get a better feel and appreciation for them like in a traditional handle style, like with these combo pliers. But if you're familiar, maybe you just got dipped on your Knipex pliers wrench, do yourself a favor, try these out. I think you will like them. Not only do they offer great grip, they're also truly comfortable. And again, something like the pliers wrench, it's a situation. You might be working with, you know, 1/4 20 hardware, or you might be down here in 3/4 10 stuff, you know, and you might be opening this sucker up over an inch, going to town. For some people, where a pliers wrench shines, like on big, say like airline fittings, your wrench set may stop 7/8, 15/16, inch and an eighth, something, and you might need like a way bigger wrench, 1.5 inches or something. Instead of having to go out and snag one or wait until the store's open and go get one the next day, you're able to come in, you can use your pliers wrench, you can go to town. The big gantry crane hardware, the metric stuff, I didn't have metric wrenches that big. How did I put it together? Pliers wrenches. The uses are limitless. They truly do. I'm not saying you would want to do this in all cases. It's nice to have the standalone dedicated wrench, but they truly are capable of replacing an entire set of wrenches, and that's a big selling point. And again, we're not talking like the little cheap 1/4 to 3/4 sets. Like, this thing opens up right here to 52 millimeters, okay? That's a significantly sized wrench or spanner that you would be able to have in one tool. That again, you can zip back down into position, fold up, and basically put it in like a 10 or a 12-inch bag, and it's 440 grams to carry around with you as opposed to a wrench roll. So, very cool stuff there. The Wiha, just because we've got it here. Again, NWS going to have significantly more capacity. Obviously, Wiha is like a total different take than anything else we've seen here. The Wiha jaws actually aren't terribly wide either, so that's kind of an interesting perspective for you. But that's what they are. They are here. They are available. Like I said, I checked right before I hit record. There were 5 of these in stock, And I want to say the plastic grip Titan finish, there were 9. If you're thinking like, well, I'm just going to get the matte chromium, no big deal. Well, they're currently not in stock. Now, the good news is, it's a brand new tool. They should be on order. I don't know how many KC Tool has coming in. They should be on the way. I also want to say, if these do sell out, I think the date I saw was like middle September when they might come in. Now, keep in mind, these were projected way earlier, and they just kept getting pushed back. So if you miss out on what's available and in stock, you know, go ahead and get your order in, maintain your position in line, but just be aware, you know, like maybe factor in a little fudging time, a little play time on either side of that deadline. So basically hope for the worst and maybe you're pleasantly surprised, right? So if it says September 12th, maybe think like the end of September, and then if it shows up a little after Labor Day, you know, you win. All right, happy times ahead. But I have to say, I do like this one. In terms of the price point versus other pliers, it's sort of a wash there. Now, that's something that could change. Maybe over time, they drop it down. They get in like that sweet spot where Knipexes might be what you're leaning towards. But then if you're like, oh, you know, this is like $20 cheaper, it's probably, you know, about as good, right? Maybe I'll try it out. I think that would be super good for NWS because that's how they could kind of get people to bring. There's going to be people like me that are super curious. There's going to be people like you that are watching that are like, sweet, got to try them. Doesn't matter. You could have 12 Knipex pliers wrenches. You could have everything. You could have all the cheap ones. You could have whatever. You have no need for a new pliers wrench. You're going to buy it to try it. Some of you, this might be a deal where you're like, I could kind of use one, and you know what? I want to try those handles, and you've got good justification for bringing in a practical tool, right? It's a worthwhile purchase for you. But for everyone else, maybe that's going to grab one for the first time, that's why you don't see many people with Stahlwille or Gedore. The prices are high, and Knipex is the best known. It's the original. That's the same argument I had with the Icon. It's like, hey, man, you know, you're not far off from like a sale price on a Knipex. I don't have any issue with these being 65 bucks coming out of Germany, but it's a situation where that puts them at a price point that might hurt NWS more than it helps them, right? Like if they could sell them for 49, maybe, you know, there's like, you know, 15-20% of you that were gonna buy the Knipex, and they're like, well, hey man, I saved 15 bucks, I'm doing that. Just like me, you know, like it's $6 cheaper than the matte chromium, you know, well, here we go. I like both finishes, and this one's here, so why not, right? That would kind of be the only thing, especially with the launch of a new product. At least here, this could be totally different overseas, but here in America, with the options and the price points of the options, I feel like they need to be a little bit lower to kind of bring people in and get people to be like, man, I'm going to try more from NWS. But hey, you know, maybe it's a deal where the NWS fans can come in now. They've got a pliers wrench and they'll do just fine. Maybe the prices come down. Maybe this is like as low as they could possibly go. Maybe they have my same mentality. Like, man, we need to come in a little lower than Knipex. And the cost of materials, the production, the design, it's just like they can't do it. They'd be selling them at a loss. Who knows the logic? I do know initial bench impression. I like it. I'm excited to use it. The mechanism, if you've got any of these, particularly Knipex, I would say this is the most similar to Knipex. Wiha totally different. Stahlwille different. Gedore, you know, I mean, Knicon there, you know, same version 1, if you will. This is sort of like the refined version 2, if you will, of Knipex stuff, just with an NWS take on it. The design is fantastic. I'm not sure how often the scale would come in handy, but like in terms of bending, if you're sitting there and you're making, say, a hold down bracket for a fan on your car, and you got, you know, like some 18 gauge sheet metal for the shroud, and you want to bend it every single time at the 15 mark, this all of a sudden becomes super useful. If you're just using this to replace a wrench, you know, for like tightening, you know, coupling nuts, you might not ever care that that scale is there. But like I said, think just not what you're going to do, but what other people could do, and that would actually be super handy of an, you know, scale to have. So could they do things differently? Could they make improvements? Yeah, but again, if you come in and they did the scale here, then it's kind of like you have the same argument with Harbor Freight. It's like, well, cool, you know, you did your design, you did your handles, your branding, but it's like a blatant copy. This is sort of like, hey, this is our version of the pliers wrench. The thing that I like the most, just after kind of winging these around for 30 minutes, it's sort of this side profile, like the head. When you come into the jaws, it's a very thin profile, but you kind of get to that thin profile a little before you do with some of these others, right? The Knipex, very solid design, very nice looking design, but that ratchet mechanism there, that kind of is going to bring you down. With the Gedore, it is very thin the entire way. Its holdup would be here on the slider. The NWS sort of has that same holdup on the slider, but it's just the means in which it's articulated. You can kind of maybe snake that in a couple more spots where you couldn't the others. Whether that's practical or not remains to be seen, but again, initial bench impressions, I like it. Was it worth the $65.51? I think so, but I mean, you know me, you know what I do here, right? Curiosity, wanting to try things out, compare and contrast. This is right up my alley. You know, for everyone else, it kind of comes down to what do you need, what capacities do you need, what are you willing to spend, what's on sale. If this was a situation where the NWS was tool of the day and it's half price, buy it. Don't hesitate, get it. Bench impression tells me you should be fine with it. If it's a situation where this is priced $1 or $2 above or below Knipex, you got to make that call. Maybe it's a deal where you want to try these handles and that's your logic. Maybe you're just curious about NWS as a whole, or maybe you're like, yeah, you know what, Knipex is the originator, I want to stick with them. So it's going to come down to each individual, I do believe. What I want to know from you is, what are your thoughts on the NWS Pliers wrench in terms of their design? What do you like about it? What do you not like? Do you think it's a good fit? How many of you were kind of surprised that NWS, which again, at least over here, is best known for their pliers, didn't have a pliers wrench until now, right? I mean, this literally is a brand new tool, hot off the press type of a thing, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what people's reaction is to it. The profile here is really the main thing. Let's kind of snake these back down, that I think kind of stands out. It just seems smaller. You know, I don't know that it's like significantly smaller, but it's just like a smaller, more compact profile. Not by much, but I mean, hey, if you've run into issues, you know, this very well could be a huge selling point for you. So I want to know your thoughts on it. If you pick this up, hopefully you get in early. You can snag it while they're available. I gotta say though, anytime the companies do this stuff, it seems to resonate well with people. You know, you got a little snake or dinosaur, whatever you want to call it, and then it becomes like some lovable, adaptable creature that you can use in marketing, put it on stickers and t-shirts. So I guess this is the gripper. We'll probably be hearing and seeing more about it. I'm not sure what creature it is exactly, but as you sit here and watch it, you can't tell me that it doesn't look like something, you know, like sitting here talking to you, right? I could probably sync this pretty well, right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you want something that looks like it's a tool talking to you, this is your ticket. I think it does it better than the others, but that's what you'd expect from a company sort of a little late to the game. They can do the cool little fun things and make some aesthetic tweaks. Note there also, this would shave a little bit of weight off. Also, if you look at their combo pliers, it's not just the sci-fi handles. NWS does some really cool designs. I know there's function to this as well, but just aesthetically, I mean, it's nice to look at. Kind of the same thing here with this design. Hopefully that's showing up okay for you. It's just a good looking tool, I have to say, and I do kind of like this, as I brought up, you know, bending the sheet metal, which I do. I think that's where that would actually kind of be the most practical. I guess in a pinch, you know, like if you're like, okay, well, how long is this? And, you know, we can picture, we knew our metric conversions off the top of our head. And you'd be like, yeah, it's, you know, got an inch of thread on the bolt. So I need a 3/8 16x2 shoulder, you know, with 1 inch of thread, and that's going to work great. All kinds of things, whatever you can come up with, you can use it for. But again, this is the NWS Pliers wrench, which they have effectively dubbed the gripper. So very excited to kind of see how they push this, how they promote it, what they market it as, if they try to stage it as standalone or just our version of the Knipex. I did check with Colin. I was like, man, you know, did they like send anything over, you know, like flyers or anything? And I'm kind of thinking, sort of, you know, what he was thinking is that maybe next month they're going to like launch it, push it real hard. So maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't. I honestly don't know. But that seems practical. It's a very, very nice option. And the biggest thing for you, if you don't jump on this immediately, put this on your wish list. Look for it on Tool of the Day. I don't know when it'll happen. I'm sure it will eventually. And if this is something that you can get not for $65, but for say $39, $45, $49, somewhere in there, not even a huge chunk off, but just enough, it becomes a super nice pickup for you. So let me know if you're going to pick this up, how you think it compares, if you've had enough pliers wrenches, if you think there's too many. Like I said, Capri, Gray and Dynamic, a couple other like super cheap ones. There's just been an inundation of pliers wrenches lately. So I'm excited about it. Again, I cannot wait to use it, get some seat time with it. Lots of little design implementations here that I think are nice. It feels great in hand, particularly this Titan finish. Again, after holding what we held there, there's no real wear to the jaws, so that's a good sign. Cleans up nicely. But yeah, I'm impressed by it initially. We'll have to see how she does long term. And eventually, like I said, we'll kind of compare and contrast. I'll tell you what I like and why, what I'd change, all that stuff. But right now, this is the hero of the hour, the NWS Pliers Wrench Gripper. Again, links, timestamps, all that's down below. But I kind of need to get inside, you know, make supper, play with my nephew, that kind of stuff. So on that front, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I always come out here and I'm thinking like, yeah, this is going to be like a 25-minute video tops. And here we are, you know, 20 minutes past that. But hey, I like what I do here. What can I say? So, and if you're here watching my videos, I assume you do too, because otherwise you wouldn't keep watching. So with that said, thanks so much for watching. Again, stuff will be linked down below. I'll just link to this one. Maybe I'll throw all four up for you. But there's just, what, 12, 14 bucks between the price points. Kind of pick how you want them. In my opinion, it is worth getting the soft grip. If you bring it in and you love this, but you hate that, or you wanted just to save more money because you're going to get a second pair, absolutely at that point in time do their dipped version, which again is actually quite comfortable. Sometimes they suck. The Wiha and NWS textured grips I've actually liked pretty well. Same with Stahlwille and Gedore when they're blue, which that's another story we won't get into. But super solid little pliers wrench. Happy to see it in a rather congested market. Brings a couple of nice standalone features I've not seen on others. The adjustment mechanism seems smooth. NWS typically on replacement parts is very reasonable. I haven't seen any listed yet. Obviously it's brand new. I'm not sure they've even marketed that. But yeah, I will leave it at that. And like I said, there is a ton of stuff coming and even more on the way. Some really, really cool tools I think you're going to enjoy. This being one of them. So I've waited for this to come in a long time. I knew I was just going to throw it out there. Totally go against the grain with our numbered videos. This would be like 80 something if you're scoring at home or wonder how far in advance we are. This is special. It's cool. It's coming out early. And with that said, LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. And with that said, thanks again for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I hope if you pick one of these up, you will enjoy it as much as I think I'm going to. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you back here for more action from the shop.